Reports have been circulating across social media and news platforms regarding a significant military development in the Middle East. According to these unverified claims, a major U.S. airbase in Qatar was targeted in a ballistic missile strike. If true, this would represent one of the most significant escalations in the region in recent years. But in an age of information warfare, unverified claims require careful examination. What do we actually know? What remains unconfirmed? And why does this specific base matter so much in the strategic balance of the Gulf? Before we examine the available information, consider subscribing for more fact-based military and geopolitical analysis. Now, let's look at what we can verify, what remains uncertain, and why this story matters regardless of its ultimate accuracy. Al Udeid Air Base is located southwest of Doha, Qatar. It serves as the forward headquarters of United States Central Command and hosts approximately 10,000 American military personnel. The facility features one of the longest runways in the region and functions as the primary air operations center for U.S. missions across Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and the broader Gulf region. From this installation, the U.S. Air Force Central Command coordinates airstrikes, surveillance flights, reconnaissance missions, and aerial refueling operations. The Combined Air Operations Center inside the base monitors and directs every coalition sortie in the theater. B-52 bombers, F-15 fighters, C-17 transport aircraft, and KC-135 refueling tankers regularly operate from its facilities. The strategic importance of Al Udeid cannot be overstated. It is the hub through which American air power projects across the entire Middle East. Any disruption to its operations would have immediate consequences for U.S. military capabilities throughout the region. This strategic value is precisely why the base would be a logical target in any major conflict scenario. But logic and actual events do not always align, especially in the complex information environment of modern geopolitics. According to reports originating from Iranian state-affiliated media outlets, ballistic missiles were launched toward Al Udeid Air Base. These sources claim that multiple missiles successfully penetrated air defenses and struck key facilities, including hangars, runways, and command structures. Some reports suggest significant damage and potential casualties. These claims have spread rapidly across social media platforms, generating significant concern and discussion among military analysts and geopolitical observers. However, according to official statements from United States Central Command and Department of Defense representatives, these reports are inaccurate. American officials state that no such strike occurred at Al Udeid or any other U.S. installation in Qatar. They maintain that base operations continue normally and that no missiles impacted the facility. At this time, independent verification remains extremely limited. Commercial satellite imagery of the base from the alleged time of the incident has not been released. No independent journalists or international observers have confirmed damage to the facility. Qatari government sources have not issued statements supporting the claims of strike. This gap between Iranian media claims and U.S. official denials creates an information vacuum that is difficult to resolve without access to classified intelligence or independent on-the-ground verification. To understand why such claims emerge and spread, we must examine the strategic environment. Iran and the United States have been engaged in a shadow conflict for decades. This has included cyber operations, proxy warfare, naval confrontations, and periodic direct military exchanges. Iran has invested heavily in its ballistic missile program, developing a range of short, medium, and intermediate range systems. These missiles represent Tehran's primary strategic deterrent against superior U.S. conventional forces. Iranian military doctrine emphasizes missile capabilities as an equalizer against American air power and naval supremacy. The United States maintains significant air defense assets throughout the Gulf region. These include Patriot missile batteries, THAAD systems, and naval vessels equipped with Aegis combat systems. Protecting bases like Al Udeid is a top priority for U.S. Central Command. Qatar, which hosts the base, maintains diplomatic relations with both Washington and Tehran. Doha has positioned itself as a mediator in regional conflicts and hosts multiple foreign military installations, including the largest U.S. base in the region. This unique position makes Qatar both valuable and vulnerable in any U.S.-Iran confrontation. Even if the specific claims about a strike on Al-Udeid remain unverified or inaccurate, the fact that such reports emerge and spread is itself strategically significant. Information operations have become a central component of modern conflict. State actors, non-state groups, and various media outlets regularly release information designed to shape perceptions, influence decision-making, and create psychological effects. A claimed strike, even if false, can achieve strategic objectives by demonstrating perceived capability, testing response mechanisms, or simply dominating news cycles. For Iran, the narrative of successfully striking a major U.S. base serves multiple purposes. Domestically, it demonstrates strength to internal audiences and reinforces the credibility of Iranian military power. Regionally, it signals to allies and proxies that Iran can challenge the United States directly. Internationally, it shapes perceptions of the balance of power in the Gulf. For the United States, denying such claims maintains deterrence, reassures allies, and prevents the narrative of vulnerability from taking hold. A confirmed successful strike on a major base would have significant consequences for American credibility and regional stability. For Qatar, the situation is delicate. Hosting a base that becomes a target places Doha in an extremely difficult position between its security relationship with Washington and its geographic proximity to Tehran. Based on currently available open-source information, here is what could be reasonably stated. First, the United States maintains significant military forces at Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar. This is confirmed by official Department of Defense publications and extensive photographic evidence. Second, Iran possesses ballistic missiles capable of reaching Qatar. The distance from western Iran to Doha is approximately 300 to 400 miles, depending on launch location, well within the range of multiple Iranian missile systems. Third, information warfare is a consistent feature of U.S.-Iran tensions. Both sides have historically released competing narratives about military events, making independent verification essential. Fourth, no independent confirmation of a strike on Al-Udeid has emerged from sources outside Iranian state media. Commercial satellite imagery, international news organizations, and Qatari official sources have not provided corroborating evidence. Fifth, the absence of evidence is not necessarily evidence of absence. Some military activities occur without public documentation, and verification can take time. However, a strike of the magnitude described would typically generate observable indicators, including visible damage, changes in base activity, or official acknowledgments from affected parties. Regardless of the specific accuracy of current claims, the discussion highlights several important realities about modern geopolitics. Military bases like Al-Udeid represent both American power and American vulnerability. Their strategic value makes them potential targets, while their protection requires massive investment in air defense, intelligence, and rapid response capabilities. Ballistic missiles have fundamentally changed the security environment of the Middle East. The proliferation of precision-guided missile technology means that static bases, population centers, and economic infrastructure are increasingly vulnerable to long-range attack with minimal warning time. Information environments have become battle spaces. What people believe happens is sometimes as strategically significant as what actually happens. Competing narratives shape public opinion, influence policy decisions, and affect the calculations of allies and adversaries alike. Verification has never been more difficult or more necessary. In an era of instant global communication, claims spread faster than facts. Responsible analysis requires patience, skepticism, and a commitment to distinguishing confirmed information from unverified reports. As of now, the claim that Iranian missiles struck Al-Udeid Air Base remains unverified and is denied by official U.S. sources. Without independent confirmation, satellite imagery, or statement from Qatari authorities, the claim should be treated with appropriate skepticism. However, The strategic dynamics that make such a scenario plausible will continue to shape the region. Tensions between Iran and the United States show no signs of resolution. Military capabilities on both sides continue to develop. The potential for miscalculation, escalation, or actual conflict remains real. The situation in the Gulf deserves careful, fact-based attention. Not every claim is true. Not every denial is complete. Not every escalation leads to war. But understanding what is actually happening requires looking beyond headlines and social media posts to examine available evidence with a critical eye. For those interested in following this situation as it develops, reliable sources include official statement from U.S. Central Command, reporting from established international news organizations with regional bureaus, and analysis from military and geopolitical research institutions. The gap between reported events and verified facts has never been wider, and the consequences of that gap have never been more significant. Understanding what is actually happening in the world requires patience, discernment, and a commitment to evidence-based analysis. If you found this breakdown useful, consider subscribing for more fact-based geopolitical and military analysis. We'll continue monitoring this situation and provide updates as verifiable information becomes available. Thank you for watching.